This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with fellow man-child Johnny Karlic.
He ruined motherfucker. How do you do that?
Yes, he did. Samuel L. Jackson ruled. He ruined, not ruled the word. Well, basically he ruled it too. But yeah, he ruined the word motherfucker. Also, if you're joining us, you're like, whoa, wasn't expecting that language. This one might have a little language.
A little?
Little warning to it because we saw the Hitman's Bodyguard. What we're doing this week, first off, welcome into the pseudo Rick and Johnny podcast here on Most Valuable Podcasts. Instead of doing an actual podcast, Johnny and I saw 2 videos this week, or 2 movies I should say,
yeah, no videos.
This week, and we're just going to review them both. The first one, you're listening to it now, the Hitman's Bodyguard. We'll also have a separate podcast up for Logan Lucky that we saw also. And if you're new to how we kind of react and review these movies here for the Rick and Johnny podcast is, first off, we kind of stay in a non-spoiler mode, just talk about some things we like, some things we didn't like. Then we will get into a spoiler mode. We will warn you when we get there. And then at the end, we will go ahead and give our MVP, which we call the show stealer here, of the film, and then also give our official rating for it. But Johnny, what did you like about the film? What did you like? What were your kind of thoughts coming out of the Hitman's Bodyguard?
First things first, Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson had fantastic chemistry together.
They did.
Fantastic.
They did. Well, it was like I said, he was like a lesser Deadpool.
Yeah.
And then Samuel L. Jackson was basically Samuel L. Jackson, what you expect from him.
That is what he was. He was Samuel L. Jackson with a little bit of like, hey, I can let loose at Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh yeah, the leash was kind of like clipped off a little bit.
Yeah,
so, you know, you can take it on your own.
You can say the word motherfucker as many times as you want.
As many times as you want, as many times. But yeah, no. To me, this was one movie where I was constantly laughing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is a movie, if you go and see, if you love Ryan Reynolds, you love Samuel L. Jackson.
Go see it.
You're going to be laughing nonstop. And that's what I was. It's like, there were times in this where, I mean, I could see where some of the critics were like, oh, well, it felt forced, or like, oh, this is the same old stuff that we've seen. I don't care. I like the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds, between Samuel L. Jackson, and it worked together on the screen, at least for me.
Same
here. It worked
here.
together. It made me laugh, and there were like audible times where, like, Johnny, you were sitting next to me, you would look over and could hear me laughing out loud.
Yeah. No, I mean, when you like your laughter started to die out a little bit, like you like, okay, I can get over it now. Hit you with something else. Whether it be big or small, it just kept hitting you with one after another. And not just like, okay, this is getting old from laughing now. This is like some, like, everything felt like fresh. It was funny. It wasn't like the same joke over and over again. It wasn't like jokes that were, no, they were really fucking funny jokes. And I'm going to use that word more often today because of this podcast.
Well, and that's, like I said, there's got to be a language warning for this podcast, maybe especially when we go into spoiler mode.
Yeah.
But this was the one thing that I will say about this movie, and I don't know if this is really, because I'm trying to think of a negative that I saw, a big negative, besides like because if you read most of the what the critics are saying after this, which I did, they didn't like it because it's all like, you know what, it's the same like buddy cop type movie that we've seen, that like the same 2 pairing, and it just seemed old to all the critics. The only thing that I can see that's maybe a negative, and I say negative, is because if you're looking for a movie that has like a star-studded cast, this isn't going to have the, if you're looking for quantity, so the basically the Q word that means more of them, you're not going to find that here. You're going to find more quality in it, where they have you have Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson as your 2 front runners, but then you have Elodie Young, who was Elektra in the Netflix series Daredevil. You also have Gary Oldman, who was the villain in this case, and he was You might know him from a lot of movies, but the big one that I remember him from, he's Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, he's in that as Commissioner Gordon, the original Dark Knight series, as well as
the Nolan Batman films.
The second, I believe it was, the second Planet of the Apes. Those are the two things I remember him from.
Yep, and then also we have, of course, the beautiful Salma Hayek playing the beautiful wife of Samuel L. Jackson's character. But that's pretty much it. I mean, when it comes to the rest of this cast, it's not going to be like, man, that's a guy where, boom, that's a name where it's a high front runner. We have basically these 4 or 5 big shoguns, and then, like I said, it's really quality over quantity, but that's me kind of nitpicking, because this movie, to me, the negatives weren't like, oh man, that was really, like, it wasn't a negative that made me think that, wow, this is a bad movie or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just a negative of like, okay, like there were some times where it's like they would say a joke and I'd be like, okay, well, I will admit we've heard that one before. But there were other ones where even like, and this will be kind of spoilery, but I'm sorry, but it's been in the trailer, I think, too, where he comes up and he goes, "Tick-tock, motherfucker." We've heard that from Samuel L. Jackson before.
Oh, yeah.
Where I don't care how many times I hear that kind of a line from Samuel L., I'll still laugh. And I still laughed hysterically at that line.
Yeah, exactly. It's still funny coming from him just because of the way it comes off. That's the biggest part of it. And you know what? I get it. Yeah, the buddy cop film thing has been played over so many times. But this is kind of a refreshing take on it.
Do you think so? Like, that's a conversation that I'll ask you about. Because, like, and like I said, like, this review is more of our own thoughts.
Yeah.
But I like taking what other people are also thinking and kind of reacting to that as well, where, I mean, one of them, and I'm just going to take the top one for you, the whole film seems slightly grubby and low res, like it's been languishing in private mode on the filmmaker's pre-HD YouTube page since 2008. That I will say, I did notice, and I never brought it up to you. There were some scenes, like we saw it on an ultra screen. That's where the movie theater, there were some scenes where it's like, okay, it's a little blurry. Is it supposed to be a little blurry? Like, not like the whole thing, but like if you were looking like at the face and then directly below, like right here is a little blurry where it's like, is it a stylistic choice? Is that what they're going for?
It might be.
And then it would clear up and I'd be like, okay, that was kind of weird. Because you don't usually see that with films.
Yeah. Maybe it was a stylistic choice. You never know. I couldn't say. I didn't 100% notice it because I was more so engulfed in the storyline and the comedy of the film. I'm just saying the reason I'm saying it's kind of a refreshing taste on it is kind of just because how funny it was. They made it like more funny than any other buddy cop film I've ever seen. Like there were more jokes, but like well-timed, well thought out jokes thrown in there, not just like, okay, that was funny.
You knew it was going to be well timed because obviously Samuel L. Jackson's been doing this forever, basically.
Yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds is kind of like, I don't want to say the new up and comer because he's been around forever as well, but he's also a character where it's like these two know what they're doing.
Exactly.
And they know their own strengths and can also feed off of somebody else. I mean, Ryan Reynolds, like I told you, even though I think this was rated R also, along with Deadpool that was rated R. Although this was rated R also, I still felt like he was just a lesser Deadpool.
Yeah, he wasn't.
I hate saying that because I'm typecasting Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was a lot like that. He was very Deadpoolish in this, which is kind of his thing nowadays, it seems like.
Yep.
He's always got that sarcastic-ish side to him anyways.
Let me ask you this before I make my last point before we go over into spoiler mode. Anything you want to bring up before we go and spoil the movie?
Nothing in non-spoiler mode, no.
Okay. The last thing I'm going to bring up then, this is going to take us into spoiler mode. So
skidoski.
This is going to be half non-spoiler. Then I will warn you before we move officially into spoiler mode. One of the things I loved with this movie is it started off where it's like, you're kind of like, okay, I don't know. Like, you're still sitting like, okay, I got to get used to the setting. Where are we? What's going on? But it didn't take it long for the movie to go, bam, hit you with a key moment, and just, boom, we're off to the races till there. It did a nice job of, we're gonna ease you in. Okay, you're getting familiar with Ryan Reynolds and his character. You're getting familiar. Boom, something happened.
Yeah, no, it didn't take
bam,
long.
You're off to the races.
Yeah, no, it didn't take very long at all to do that.
No, and that's something that I really liked, and this is where we will.
Yeah, Ricky likes to cut to the chase, basically.
Yeah, and this is where we'll go into spoiler mode. So if you haven't seen Hitman's Bodyguard, you still want to see Hitman's Bodyguard, we'll be sitting here waiting for you to have this discussion. So go ahead, hit that pause button, come on back. But if you don't care, keep on listening, and we're going to go into spoiler mode. But Johnny, now we're in spoiler mode, and kind of now to complete the second part of that.
Yes.
It was the part where it's like, you know what? Okay, he's a good, because Ryan Reynolds' character, his whole job, keep people safe.
If it's boring it's good.
Boring is safe, is what he would say.
I think boring is good.
Whatever. Boring is good. That's his motto.
Yes.
If everything, like, he plans out everything.
AAA rated.
To know the escape routes, to know this, to know that, so that everything goes to plan. And then he brings the ambassador to the plane. And then right as he gets on the plane, he goes
like
the wave,
a thank you.
Right through the window. And right from that moment, you're like, oh, shit. And then the movie's off.
Yeah.
The movie's off from there, because then it's like Ryan Reynolds' character is kind of like, that's a moment in time that shifted him into the lowest of the low.
Yes. It just ruined his career.
Where, like, the next scene, I believe the next scene we saw him in, he is pissing into an apple juice container.
Yes, he is. He pissed into an apple juice bottle
while in his car,
right before his pickup.
Right before his pickup. But what from this movie exactly? What scenes? What kind of things from this movie? Kind of look for, like, okay, that's what I really liked. Now that we're in spoiler mode, we can kind of talk about.
Yeah,
these things.
my main one was after Samuel Jackson pissed off Ryan Reynolds, and he's just sitting at the outdoor bar.
Which time?
Oh, you mean every time?
Yeah, which time when they didn't piss each other off?
The main one I'm thinking of is when he's sitting at that bar talking to the guy, and the world is falling to shit behind him, and he's just sitting there like nothing's going on.
He ruined the word motherfucker. How do you do that? And then he's like, you know what? I hope he dies. I hope they catch him. I hope they get him, kind of a thing. And
you won't last 2 hours without me.
That scene the whole time, like, that had to be a fun scene to film. Yeah. Because all it is him sitting in front of a camera,
bitching,
not worrying about what's going on behind him.
Yeah.
And we even see in the if you're going to call it an after credit scene, we get to see the blooper reel of whatever church bells were
the church bells were going off
filming.
while they were waiting. They had to wait for him.
The longest church bells I think I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Would not stop. And even Ryan Reynolds makes a joke where he goes, is this the director's cut? Is this going to make the director's cut?
Is this the fucking director's cut?
But, yeah, I mean, that was probably my favorite scene.
Yeah.
Is just Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds in front of a camera with everything going on behind him.
That had to have been super hard not to look at with all those sounds.
You know what else? You know what other scene I really liked? The one where I think it was right before that, where Samuel Jackson had the flowers.
Yeah.
It was the tulips, and he had the Amsterdam hat, and he's just going through, and the Russian mob that's going to try to kill him for the president of Belarus.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman's character.
Vladislav Dukovich.
Yes, Dukovich. He was basically, they're all like, okay, they're going to kill him. And then Samuel Jackson would walk by, Ryan Reynolds right behind. Snap.
Just see his arms.
Toss
and he
the
just
gun.
knocks each one of them out.
And even at the end, he's like, really, you couldn't have it like FedEx here. He's like, it needs that personal touch. And he's like, I knew Dukovich's men were there. He's like, if you knew, why didn't you do anything? Because I knew you were behind me. Like, that was a scene where I think that together with the other one, because there were three right in a row. There was that. Then there was the argument that they had where Samuel Jackson does the big reveal. I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
How did the reveal hit for you? Because the reveal I'm talking about is where he's like, because the whole movie, Ryan Reynolds mad at his ex-wife, I want to say, ex-wife.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Because he believed that, you know what, I let you into this. I did something that I wasn't supposed to, and you work for Interpol. I'm a protection service. I gave you the name. I shouldn't have done it. you backstabbed me to work your way up the Interpol ladder. And Samuel L. Jackson's like, no, you fucking idiot. I killed him.
Yeah.
Where it was basically from what he said, 300 yards
Meters.
or 300 meters. He's like, I was doing another job and I saw you dropping him off. He's like, best shot I ever had. 300 meters through the airplane window the size of a titty. And just boom, right through the head.
Yep.
What did you like? What did it feel when that was revealed? What were you feeling?
Part of me was like, okay, I can actually see that, because she kept denying that she had any part in it, and part of me felt like, you know what? No, it's gonna end up being Samuel L. Jackson. He's gonna. I thought it was gonna be like a bigger fight than their little argument that they had.
A little bit. You thought it was going to be more fisticuffs and then getting into it?
Well, instead of like the one jab to his nose and then walk away screaming at each other. Like an old married couple.
I kind of. Well, that's basically what they were.
Yeah,
in this
exactly.
movie, an old married couple going. It's kind of like the modern day more violent version of Airs. What am I thinking of? Fuck, I can't remember.
I'm thinking The Odd Couple.
I'm thinking John Candy and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh yeah,
that's something. I wanted to say Airplane. I'm like, no, that's not the. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's what it's like to me. A more violent, more modern version of that.
Yeah, to me, it's, well, I kind of get the same thing.
Because you got Samuel L. Jackson, who's the kind of more grimy character, and Ryan Reynolds, who's the goody boy, two shoes kind of character.
Yeah, one that's more organized, one that's complete chaos. That's why I said like The Odd Couple, because they had a recent one come out like maybe 2-3 years ago on TV again. And that's what I get from these two. One of them is like straight edge, everything needs to be done this way, completely organized. The other one is like, I just go with how life goes.
Yeah.
I have nothing planned out whatsoever. And that's what it was like. It was like a really violent Odd Couple.
No, it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing that I'm thinking of is the reveal to me. Because you gave your answer.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like when he was telling it, in my head, I kind of went, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, that's how it would be. But at the same time, the way they revealed it with Samuel L. Jackson's delivery, then he caught me off guard by saying the airplane windows the size of a titty. Yeah. That alone, like every doubt that I had of like, I should have seen this coming, just went whoosh right out the door because I was laughing. Yeah, I laughed and I forgot about it. I don't know. Some people might take that as a negative because they're like, well, okay, simple-minded Ricky over here,
like, I saw that coming,
and then the laughter kind of pushes it aside. But no. Because you made it funny, I was kind of like, well, yeah, you know what? It was funny. I kind of pushed it off to the side. It wasn't a huge negative that in my brain I'm like, I should have seen that coming kind of a thing.
Like, no, I felt like I said, part of me felt like it was going to be that, and part of me's like, just like didn't even think about it because I was laughing too much at the rest of the movie. Yeah. And even his delivery made you not realize, like, oh, wait, shit, that's what happened. Like, it wasn't a very serious part.
No, it was not.
No, it was more of
but it was
Samuel Jackson laughing at Ryan Reynolds' life had fallen apart.
But it was also a big reveal.
It was.
In the sense of, like, the plot kind of turned after that point. And the one thing that now thinking in spoiler mode that I'm thinking, I wish if they made one change to this movie that I wish they would change.
Ricky's got to change every movie.
Well, it's not a big change. Like, it's not like changing a whole scene or anything. I kind of feel like Salma Hayek's character should have had a little bit bigger of a role.
Okay.
Like, I don't know how I feel. Like, I get what her role was in this movie. She was in jail. She was supposed to be the love interest to Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah. That almost gets him caught because he goes to see her in Amsterdam. That's leaving the flowers up by the clock tower with the Amsterdam hat. He's basically going to see her. But part of me is like, and I get we see the bar scene where he first meets her, and then the bar scene at the end where he breaks out of prison to see her for their anniversary. But part of me is just after the movie thinking, I know we got some scenes where there's some great scenes where her attorney called her. Yeah. And then when she's talking to the Interpol agent about her attorney calling her. And we got the great funny scene of her and her cellmate where she's basically so dominant of a character that her cellmate has to basically stand in the corner like she's on timeout and fart. The fart I was not expecting.
Not at all.
Was not expecting the little out of it.
Did I say you can leave the corner?
Nope. And then like that I didn't expect. Like that was good, but I kind of feel like, did Salma Hayek's character need a little bit bigger of a role?
I think it fit well. I think it was fine. I mean, she could have.
Do you think that maybe like now that after I bring it up, do you sit there and go, maybe a little bit bigger of a role?
I wouldn't say change it too much with that. I mean, they could, but I wouldn't really because the movie worked out well. I mean, you don't want to throw a wrench in it too much with her or anyone else.
Because I know that Young, her character, the Interpol agent, the ex-wife to Ryan Reynolds' character, Michael Bryce, I think she fit better in than Salma Hayek.
Yeah.
But it's easy to when you're kind of in, like, because she's in the thick of it. Because her agency, she calls Bryce to keep Samuel L. Jackson safe because Samuel L. Jackson needs to make it to the end to put Dukovich in prison and kind of get him to where he can't walk free and basically be president again of Belarus. I just, like, her character to me felt more grounded in the story. Like, grounded. But that's also what I'm saying. Like, because of she's more involved in the story where Salma Hayek was basically in a cell for the entire movie. Yeah,
and I think that's kind of, I mean, whoever you had in that character role, probably that's how the fit best in the storyline. Because, I mean, you don't want to get in the way of anything with Samuel L. Jackson. Like, for example, Bryce and what was the other girl's name? Roussel?
Yeah, Agent Roussel.
They weren't on the best of terms, as where Samuel L. Jackson and Salma Hayek's characters
seemed like the perfect relationship.
Exactly. So if if she had been freed out or something like that, that could have gotten in the way instead of the way the storyline went.
Speaking of that, another beautiful scene in this movie was the wake.
Yes.
The wake was a beautiful, like, the comedy of Ryan Reynolds describing it, like, because that's him describing the first time him and Amelia had met.
Yeah.
Him describing it, and then them doing, like, the slow motion action kind of filmmaking. I loved it.
Yeah, no,
I loved
fantastic.
the slow motion. I loved the comedy that Ryan Reynolds put into it as well. And I liked adding that into, because him and Samuel L. Jackson were kind of having that discussion about, basically about love, because Ryan Reynolds, his whole character, you could tell he misses Agent Roussel.
Yes.
Roussel. He wants to have her back, but the big thing is, and actually, the big funny thing, and this is funny to me now, because as I'm a little bit older than I used to be, I think I understand. Notice how I'm saying that. I think I understand women a little bit better than I used to. The scene where he's like, "It's okay, I forgive you." I'm like, "Oh no,
no, you don't.
No, you're stupid. Don't say that. Oh, don't say that. Oh, don't."
What, you're doing this now?
Oh, like not even that. Like when you're talking, and any girls watching can either say I'm right or I'm wrong. Even if you're right, you're wrong.
Exactly.
Like that's just it.
That's what I've learned.
If you're right, just swallow that you're right and just say, let's move on. You never throw it in their face.
If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you guys have broke even.
But really, he was not right. Because
no, he wasn't.
He found out later that Samuel Jackson killed him.
Yeah.
But that whole thing, like, the one thing I wanted to ask you, and this is kind of the more philosophical question.
Yes.
That it was weird that we got this kind of a philosophical question within this. They only hit it for a second, though, because this is more of a comedy, action comedy, than it is like an action movie. What Samuel Jackson brings up, basically the fact of what is worse? Am I worse because I go after, like, I'm the bad guy, I kill the people. I kill these guys, I'm doing bad things. Or are you worse for not asking questions and protecting these bad people? Because Ryan Reynolds was kind of making it like, dude, you have done so many bad things. You kill people for a living. And Samuel L. Jackson's like, yeah, well, you protect them. And Ryan Reynolds was like, well, but I don't ask questions. I don't ask questions. I don't ask who they are. And that's the kind of conversation. Did you even think about that question? Because I did a little bit of which one's worse. Samuel's character, where he's actually doing the killing, or Ryan Reynolds, where he's just protecting bad people. Well, they could be bad people that he's protecting.
Honestly, it's a hard one, but I want to lean towards Samuel L. Jackson being the good guy. Mm-hmm. In just the sense that, yeah, you're doing bad things to take out bad people, as opposed to Ryan Reynolds, where ignorance is bliss type thing.
Yes.
Where you're being ignorant to whether they're good or not, and you're protecting them anyways.
I was kind of thinking the same thing, to where, I mean, if you truly did not know, then I'd give you a pass, but let's be honest. You know.
Yeah.
You know. There's a like, if you didn't know, you wouldn't feel like, man, I shouldn't have told my girlfriend his name because Interpol would want to
arms dealer.
Yeah.
He knew he was an arms dealer.
And that's the thing where I was kind of like, ooh, maybe Samuel L. Jackson is the good guy in this sense. Also, what did you think about the twist that they sent our way at the end?
Which one?
Samuel L. Jackson tells this nice story. Like, and when I say nice, I'm not talking about what's happened in it, but of his first kill.
Oh, yeah.
Where
No,
guy walks into the prison. He basically just wants to cause trouble.
Oh,
kills
preacher.
Kills the preacher.
Yeah, he comes in.
Hangs him up for everyone to see.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson kills the guy. And then at the end,
Find out the preacher was his dad.
They slip it in there. They just slip it in there that the preacher was his dad. What did you think of that reveal?
That was a lot of character development.
Was it needed? Do you think that was needed?
I think it was a great character development.
Okay.
I think because it's not that it was a lot of character development, but it's a lot that once they add that little tidbit to the rest of the story, it becomes a whole different meaning of situation.
Well, and also it changed the situation completely.
It did.
Because notice when he told the story the first time, how he said, my first contract.
Yeah.
When I had my first contract, got my first kill, I was 16.
Yeah.
And at first I'm thinking, wow, a 16-year-old getting into the Hitman game? But now you look at that little fact slipped in there, I don't think it was a contract at all.
No,
I don't think it was an actual contract. It was just, you killed my father, I'm going to kill you.
Oh, he can call the contract if he wants because it's his own contract.
Well, it's his own contract with maybe God, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
He killed a wicked man for killing his father.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
But it wasn't like an actual hitman. Like that.
No.
He made it sound at the first time, because we didn't know the key
Made it just sound like
fact.
it was a hit.
He made it sound like it was a hit. At the end, it kind of flipped it into the fact of like, oh, that wasn't the first official hit. That was the hit.
Just his first kill.
Well, that was the hit that got him into the Hitman game, where it's like, you know what? I want to do this for a living, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Well, the thing with that too is if you while you're watching the story, you notice that it's the same kid standing in a crowd as like with all the rest of the people of the church. When he talks about the story, and then goes over to the other guy where he says, "Yeah, basically he sits in the back seat, waits till the guy gets in, just pulls up and poof, back of the head." But the thing is, then like when you add you see that story, it's like, okay, well, he thought as a part of the church community, that part of it, he's got a right or wrong. Like, this guy has to pay for what he did. And then all of a sudden
there also might have been a little bit of personal in there with it being his father.
Oh, definitely. It makes it way more personal when you find out it's his father.
Also, I like at the end how they made Ryan Reynolds take the bullet for Samuel L. Jackson.
If I'm paying for AAA service, I expect you to take a bullet for me.
Would you take a bullet for me? When he asked that question,
I don't have to.
I was like, man. And he did. He jumped in front of that and got nicked in the side.
I just like that whole scene altogether because he takes the bullet for him. Samuel L. Jackson, you don't know what he's going to do at the very end point. Where Dukovich
he
says...
was kind of shocked.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? Go ahead, put a bullet through my face. It's not going to change a thing.
Yeah, Samuel
It's going to make you who you are.
Samuel L. Jackson was kind of cocky.
It's like, it's not
movie.
Yeah, well, no,
his character was cocky too.
Dukovich, though, he's like, it's not going to change who you are. He laughs at that and says, "You messed up, motherfucker. You shot my bodyguard.
You shot my bodyguard." But that whole scene, we kind of had the three parts to it. That was part one. Part two was Agent Russo going after, I can't remember the guy's name, the crooked agent, basically.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get his name real quick.
The crooked agent that kind of was like the inside for Dukovic and his men in the Interpol side. And then we had Samuel L. Jackson and Dukovic and their final showdown. When it came to Samuel L. and Dukovic, what did you think of that? Where he was like the little one-liner that he shoots him before Samuel L. Jackson goes, "This is Sparta,"
and just kicks him off the roof. Edge. Yeah, that was interesting. I'm like, I had no idea what he was gonna do, because sometimes in these movies or in this type of scene, you get the person's like, "No, I'm better than this," and lets him go to justice.
Because there was a little comedy in there. "You shot my bodyguard."
Yeah.
Who? And then he kicked him.
Yeah.
Where Gary, like Dukovic, didn't even. It's like, who did I shoot?
It's like,
who?
I didn't give a shit who I shot.
Yeah,
I just trying to kill you. Yeah, no, it was funny though. But I mean, that scene, I didn't know what he was going to do at that moment, because it's like, well, is this sort of redemption-esque where he's like, "No, I'm going to let you go to justice." Is he just going to follow his trait? As soon as he laughed, I'm like, okay, he's going to either shoot him or do something else to him, which he did. But it's like, is he going to do the redemption thing and let him go to justice, or is he just going to kill him, where he instead kicks him off the roof?
Basically killed him on impact.
Yeah.
And all the people are like, "Oh my God, it's Dukovic."
If he's not dead,
he was dead.
he was dead from
he was dead from the
people.
mob.
Yeah, exactly.
Any last things you want to mention in spoiler mode?
No, I just want to say this whole movie was hilarious.
It was kept me laughing from beginning to end.
Fantastic chemistry. I'll say it again. It was fantastic chemistry.
Kept me laughing beginning to end. Also, another scene I know we didn't talk about that I really loved was when Interpol was first trying to transport Samuel L.'s character.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the gunfight, and then Samuel gets shot in the leg, and he's like, "Motherfucker!" And he just shoots randomly behind him.
Oh, yeah.
But still hits people.
Yeah.
Or he's just like, and he's just like doing this.
He
to
just
shoot
like
at people.
brought it back behind him. Didn't even really aim.
Great scene.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't one, like, it wasn't the best scene, but it was another one where I'm like, oh man, that was a good scene.
Yes, it was.
From this movie. But Johnny, we're going to move on. The last part, the final part we always do for our reviews. First, we give our MVP or our show stealer that we call it here on the R&J podcast. Also, we give our official review. And for this movie, we kind of have a special thing because we're not giving out, you and me agree that, like, afterwards we discuss and we're like, you know what? It's
as we do every movie.
It's either Ryan Reynolds or it's Samuel L. Jackson. And instead of doing, I felt like, yes, we could have done the, like, oh, well, you give it to one and I give it to the other. I want to do something special because, like you mentioned, one of the best things about this movie was the chemistry.
Yes.
If we're gonna praise them for their chemistry, we can't split them up.
No, of course not.
So for the first time ever on a Rick and Johnny movie review, we're basically giving a duo the show stealer, and it is the duo of Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson as the MVP / show stealer for the Hitman's Bodyguard. And is it basically in your mind just because of the chemistry and what they were able to convey over the movie screen to you? Is that a big reason?
Yeah, that's a big reason for it. Yeah, I mean, you can't give it to one or the other because they were both phenomenal, and they were both phenomenal because of each other.
The thing that I mentioned to you, and this is another reason why I wanted to put them together.
Yes.
Take one away. Like, let's say take Ryan Reynolds away, put someone else in there, and it's Samuel L. Jackson and that person, or take Samuel away and it's someone else and Ryan Reynolds. I get that people are going to be like, well, duh, but not the same movie.
No, it wouldn't have been.
Not the same movie at all, only because nothing would have been the same as Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L., and I don't know if anyone would get to that same level or surpass it.
Exactly.
I think this was the perfect pairing for this movie. And like I said, the casting, not a ton of big names. You're not going to get quantity here. You're getting quality. Where you had Young was very good in her role. Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson were amazing. You had Selma Hayek, amazing as usual. Gary Oldman, phenomenal as usual.
Yep.
These heavy hitters came, and they came and showed up in big numbers. They showed up in big numbers, and they gave great performances to me. However, I'm kind of thinking a little bit.
Okay.
3.5 or 4? 3.5 or 4? Which do I give it? I'm going to go 3.5 with my review only because, yes, I was laughing throughout. Yes, it was a great movie, but it's not like, it's one of those things where it's a great action comedy, but it's not one of those movies where it's in that other level to me. So 3.5, it was a good movie. I'd watch it again if it was on, but I just look at it and I go, you know what? It was good, not great. Yes, there were great things about it, but it was good, not great.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, a 4.
Okay.
I don't know why I said 4.5. I'm going to give it a
First
4.
off, what are we giving it out? Five what's?
Five
what?
what?
To do this?
Motherfuckers.
5 motherfuckers. So I gave 3.5 motherfuckers out of 5. You gave 4 motherfuckers out of 5. But why? Why are you giving 4 motherfuckers out of 5?
It's one movie that I would probably go and pick up. I wouldn't watch it all the time, but I actually, enough to where I'm going to buy it.
Are you going to buy it?
I think I'm going to buy it when it comes out.
See, I can't use that as a barometer because I don't buy movies anymore.
I buy movies. I like to have the digital and the...
I just wait until it's on Netflix or wait until it's on HBO.
But that's the thing. Not everything goes on Netflix or HBO. Plus, I don't have HBO.
Yeah, I mean,
I also
with
like
me and you, it's different.
I like having a hard copy, too.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I really don't necessarily need a hard copy. If I have a hard copy, it's one more thing I have to clean up and make sure it's in the right place and not just thrown on the floor somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why, to me, I look for the non-hard copies. But you're giving it a 4.
Yep.
I'm giving it a 3.5. This is where we turn on to you guys. What did you guys think if you saw The Hitman's Bodyguard? Let us know what you thought down below of anything we talked about during the movie, what you thought of the movie, and who is your MVP/show stealer, and what is your rating out of 5 for this movie. Let us know down below in the comment section. I want to thank you guys for either watching on YouTube or listening on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, or Stitcher. This is, like I said, one of 2 reviews coming out today for Rick and Johnny and for MVP. The other one, Logan Lucky. Phenomenal movie, great movie. Go check out that movie and go check out that review. Johnny and I will be doing that also. I want to thank you guys for watching and listening, and as always, have a good day, everybody.